The twin suns of Varnath Prime burned above the great battle arena. Thousands of alien voices roared in excitement. This was not a normal fight. This was the final match of the Queen's Tournament, a tradition where only the strongest warriors were allowed to compete. In the center stood Korvac, the undefeated champion of the Queen. He was huge, over 8 feet tall, with armor made from the bones of his past enemies. His claws were sharp, his eyes glowing red. Every time he fought, someone died. No one lasted more than a minute against him. The crowd cheered his name, but then, silence. A door opened from the other side of the arena. A man stepped out. Just a man, a human. He wore no armor, no helmet, just a simple combat suit from Earth's military. His name was Marcus Kane, a soldier, a survivor, a warrior. He had short dark hair, a scar down one cheek, and eyes that had seen too much war. Crowd laughed at him. A human? Is this a joke? Send in someone real. Even Korvac growled. You will die fast, little meat. Marcus said nothing. He simply walked forward, his hands loose at his sides, his expression calm. High above, in the Queen's private viewing tower, she leaned forward. Queen Valtira was known across galaxies for her beauty and power. Her skin shimmered like liquid silver, her crown pulsed with light, and her eyes held secrets older than most civilizations. She had never seen a human fight in person. She whispered, "Let him begin." The gong rang. Korvac charged with a scream. His steps shook the ground. He raised his massive claw to slice Marcus in half. The crowd held their breath, but Marcus ducked. Smooth. Fast. He spun, elbowed Korvac in the side, then swept his leg. The giant warrior stumbled. Before Korvac could recover, Marcus struck again, this time a punch to the neck. Korvac roared in pain. The crowd gasped. Impossible! No one makes him bleed. Marcus didn't stop. He moved like water, dodging every wild swing, every heavy stomp. He waited, watching, studying. And then he saw it. A small gap in the champion's armor, right under the arm. He went for it. With a small jump and a twist of his body, Marcus drove a sharp strike straight into the weak spot. Korvac screamed. He fell to his knees. Silence again. Then, the champion collapsed face down. An dead. The arena was frozen. No one knew what to say. For the first time in history, the Queen's undefeated warrior was beaten, and not by a powerful alien, but by a simple human. Up in her tower, Queen Valtira stood. Everyone turned to her. What would she do? Order his death? Send another champion? She raised one hand. Her voice echoed across the arena, calm but filled with power. I want him. The crowd exploded. Did she just say, she wants the human? Guards immediately began to move toward Marcus. He raised his hands, unsure what was going on. Wait, he said. What does she mean? But the Queen had already turned and left her tower, a mysterious smile on her lips. Back on the ground, Marcus stood alone over the fallen alien. The blood of his enemy stained the sand beneath his boots. The sun cast long shadows across the arena. He looked up at the royal box, now empty. Who was this queen? And why did she want him? He didn't come to be chosen. He came to survive. Now everything had changed. Far above, hidden in the dark corners of the palace, other nobles watched. They were not pleased. A human? Chosen by the Queen? That was dangerous. That was insulting. Whispers began to spread. He must be removed. He's a threat to the throne. But Marcus Kane had no idea. He had only one question on his mind. What comes next? Asterisk. The sand still carried the blood of the champion. But Marcus Kane didn't have time to rest. As the crowd screamed in shock and confusion, the Queen's guards moved tall, armored, with glowing green eyes and weapons drawn. They didn't speak. They didn't ask. They grabbed the human warrior by both arms and pulled him from the arena floor. He didn't resist. But he did look, back once at the body he left behind. And then the gates closed behind him. The hallways were cold, silent, and glowing with alien lights. Smooth walls shifted colors as the guards marched him forward. Doors opened without touch. Strange symbols floated in the air. This place was not made for humans. And yet, Marcus walked as if he belonged. Inside, alien nobles whispered behind walls of crystal. Their eyes followed him, some with curiosity, some with jealousy, others with hate. He was taken to a private chamber. The doors sealed shut behind him. He stood alone. Then the floor glowed. A circle of blue light rose in front of him, like a hologram made of smoke and stars. From it, the image of Queen Valterra appeared, tall, radiant, and more beautiful up close than Marcus expected. But her expression was not soft. It was calculating. She spoke. "Do you know what you've done, human?" Marcus crossed his arms. "I killed your champion." A pause. Then a small smile. "Yes, and you impressed me." The light around her flickered. "I want to see more." Marcus frowned. "More fighting?" "No," the queen said. "More of you." Suddenly, the real doors opened, this time for real. Handmaidens entered. They bowed slightly and motioned for Marcus to follow. Without speaking, they guided him through silver halls, lined with statues and floating gardens. They finally reached a high balcony, and there she stood in the flesh. Queen Valterra. Her silver skin shimmered under the moonlight. Her long robe was made of woven energy. Her crown hovered inches above her head like it was alive. She turned to face him. No guards, no threats. Just her and him. Marcus didn't bow. He didn't kneel. He simply looked at her and said, "You said you want me." "Why?" The queen walked closer, her eyes scanning him like a scientist watching a new life form. "You are not like the others. You fight with heart, not just strength. You don't fear death. You see things differently." Marcus narrowed his eyes. "And that means you want me?" Valterra stopped just inches from him. Double quotes, "No human. It means I need you." He didn't understand it yet. But the queen was not just looking for a fighter. She was looking for something else, something rare, something real. And deep inside the palace, the nobles watched again. Anger burned in their eyes. One of them, a tall alien lord with scarred skin and glowing tattoos, slammed his fist into the wall. "We will not allow this. That human must be erased." The shadows whispered in agreement. Back on the balcony, the queen stepped away and looked out over her glowing city. "You are free to walk the palace," she said. "You will eat with my nobles, rest in royal rooms, learn what you wish, but you cannot leave yet." "Why?" Marcus asked. She didn't turn. "Because the game has already begun." That night, Marcus lay in a strange bed made of soft alien vines and warm crystals. He didn't sleep, not because of fear, but because of the question, repeating in his mind. What game is she playing? And what is his role in it? He was served wine that glowed blue. Marcus didn't drink it. He was seated at a long crystal table, surrounded by tall alien nobles. Their skin shimmered in strange colors. Their clothes sparkled with wealth, and their eyes, cold and sharp, watched him like a rare animal. Some smiled politely. Others stared with hatred, but none spoke to him. Not until she entered. Queen Val single quotes TIR. Every noble stood immediately. The air grew heavier. Her steps were silent. Her crown floated above her head, pulsing like a living star. She walked past every noble and stopped at Marcus's side. She didn't sit at the head of the table. She sat next to him. Gasps filled the room. One noble even dropped his glass. Dinner was silent. No one dared to speak until the queen spoke. Finally, she turned to Marcus and said, "Walk with me." She didn't ask. She commanded. He followed her out of the hall and into a quiet garden filled with glowing plants and trees that whispered when the wind touched them. They walked in silence for a while. Then she stopped. You confuse them, she said. Marcus raised a brow. Because I don't kneel? She gave a small smile. Because you don't break. She turned to face him fully. I could kill you. I could imprison you, but instead, I offer you something no outsider has ever received. What is it? He asked. My trust. Marcus blinked. Why would you trust me? The Queen's eyes glowed faintly in the moonlight. Because you are not like them. You don't lie with sweet words. You don't pretend to respect me. You treat me like a person, not a goddess. And that is rare. She stepped closer. I need someone who sees clearly, who is not tied to court games. Someone strong, honest, and free. Marcus stayed silent. She continued, My council wants me to choose a noble mate. Someone from one of the high houses. But I don't trust them. They want my power, not my heart. She looked directly into his eyes. I want you by my side, Marcus Kane. Not as a servant, not as a prize, but as a partner. Marcus's heart slowed. Was this a trick? Why me? He asked again. She didn't blink. Because when I watched you fight, I saw fire. You fight for something more than victory. And I want that fire next to me. Marcus crossed his arms. What does this offer really mean? She smiled again, but it was sad. It means danger. Every noble will want you dead. The council will never accept you. You may never return to Earth. She paused, then added, But it also means purpose. It means you stand beside the most powerful being in this part of the galaxy. And it means I will protect you with everything I have. Marcus looked up at the stars above the garden, silent, bright, free. Then he looked at her again, the queen, the woman, the ruler who just offered him not just power, but a choice. After a long pause, he asked, And if I say no? She didn't threaten him. She simply said, Then you walk away. I will not stop you, but I will regret it. In the shadows, unknown to them, a pair of alien eyes watched from behind a glowing tree. A spy. The watcher whispered into a small device. She has chosen him. Prepare the plan. A voice answered, Good. Tomorrow he dies. Back in the garden, the queen reached out. Her hand was open. Waiting. Marcus looked at it, then at her. Then slowly, he placed his hand in hers. I'll stay, he said. For now. Her smile widened, but neither of them knew. Tomorrow would bring blood. The noble shattered a glass with his bare hand. Purple blood dripped between his fingers. He didn't feel pain, only rage. Lord Zelter, heir of one of the most powerful alien houses, had just watched the queen choose a human over him in front of the entire court. He had trained for years, fought in wars, and spilled oceans of blood to be close to Queen Val Tira. And now? She had chosen a hairless earth creature instead. He snarled to himself. This will not stand. Across the palace, Marcus walked with 2 guards behind him. Not as a prisoner, but now as a royal guest. Aliens passing by stared. Some whispered. Some bowed. Others spat when he wasn't looking. Marcus had never been hated like this before by people who didn't even know him. But he wasn't afraid. He had seen worse on Earth. He entered the royal training hall to clear his mind. It was massive, high walls, open ceiling, and sand beneath his boots. He picked up a practice staff and began moving, spinning, striking the air with clean focus. Memories of war and survival were in every move. He didn't notice the shadow watching from above. Until a voice echoed, Human. Marcus stopped. He turned slowly. A tall, muscular alien warrior jumped down from the upper balcony. Armor clinked as he landed hard in the sand. I am Lord Zelter, he said, loud and proud, and I challenge you to a duel. Marcus raised an eyebrow. For what? Zelter's eyes burned. For the queen. The guard stepped forward. This is not allowed, my lord. But Zelter lifted a medallion. By ancient law, a noble may challenge anyone for the queen's attention. Let it be recorded. Let it be witnessed. The guards froze. The law was real. Marcus sighed and tossed his staff to the side. I don't even want her attention. Too late, Zelter growled. You already have it. News spread fast. By sunset, hundreds gathered in the arena once more. But this was no royal tournament. It was personal. It was about pride and jealousy. Queen Valtira stood above once again. Her face was calm, but her fingers gripped the railing tightly. She had not ordered this fight, but she could not stop it either. Marcus stood across from Zelter, who now wore full battle armor and held a massive two-handed blade made of dark stone. Marcus had nothing but a short curved sword and his instincts. He didn't smile. He didn't joke. This wasn't a game. The gong rang. Zelter charged like a beast. He swung with brute force, crashing down on Marcus with blow after blow. The human ducked, rolled, slashed, never standing still. The alien was stronger. But Marcus was smarter. Faster. He used the alien's weight against him. When Zelter lifted his sword high again, Marcus slipped under it and drove his blade into the alien's side. Sparks flew. Blood splashed. The crowd screamed, but Zelter didn't fall. He roared, grabbing Marcus by the throat and slamming him into the sand. The air left Marcus's lungs. Zelter raised his sword for the kill. Die, earthworm! But Marcus didn't die. He grabbed a handful of sand and threw it into the alien's eyes. Zelter screamed and swung blindly. Marcus rolled away, leapt up, and sliced behind the knees, bringing the warrior to the ground. Then he pressed his blade to the noble's neck. Yield, Marcus said. Zelter growled. I said yield. The alien spat, but finally whispered, I yield. The crowd fell silent. Then applause. Not from everyone, but enough. In her tower, Queen Valtira exhaled deeply. Her smile returned. The human had not only survived again, he had won again. This time on their terms, but deep in the shadows, other nobles gathered in secret. This human is more dangerous than we thought, one said. If duels won't stop him. Another whispered, maybe poison will. That night, as Marcus washed the blood from his hands, he looked at his own reflection in a strange alien mirror. I came to survive, he said to himself. But now, I'm in the middle of something bigger. And he was right. The real storm hadn't even begun yet. There was a hidden door behind the throne. Most believed the queen's throne was carved from solid crystal and ancient stone. But behind it, underneath golden vines and flickering light, was a small, silent passage no one dared enter, except her. And now, Queen Valtira stood before the throne and waved her hand. The crystal shimmered, twisted, then opened like water. She looked at Marcus and spoke softly. Follow me, what I show you now. No one else has seen. Marcus said nothing. He followed. They stepped into darkness. The tunnel curved downward, lit only by glowing runes on the walls, each one pulsing like a heartbeat. The air was thick, heavy, old. Where are we going? Marcus finally asked. To the truth, she answered. At the bottom, they reached a round chamber with walls covered in alien script, tall mirrors, and a soft blue flame burning in the center. Without fuel, the queen stepped forward and placed her hand on a symbol, glowing above the fire. Suddenly, a voice spoke, deep, cold, echoing in the room. Time is short, Valtira. Choose your mate, or lose your crown. Marcus stepped back. What was that? She turned to him, her face serious now. It's the voice of the council, a living AI left by the ancients. Every queen is bound by it. Marcus frowned. What does it want? Her voice was low. A royal mate, a pureblood, a male from the noble lines. If I do not choose one soon, the throne will be taken from me and given to someone else. She walked to a tall mirror and touched its surface. It rippled, showing ghostly images of war, blood, fire, and a woman screaming. My mother refused, she said. She believed love mattered more than law. They killed her within a week. Marcus stared at the image. I thought I was stronger than her, but I was wrong. She looked back at him. When I said I wanted you, Marcus, it wasn't just a choice. It was a risk. One that could destroy everything. Marcus crossed his arms. So why do it? Valtira's eyes burned like stars. Because I see something in you that none of them have freedom. The room shook slightly. The flame in the middle flickered and spoke again. One rotation remains. Choose or be removed. The queen lowered her eyes. For the first time, Marcus saw her look. Tired, not weak. Just human. He stepped closer. You want me to stay at your side, knowing it could lead to war? She didn't blink. Yes, why? Her voice was almost a whisper, because I'm tired of being a puppet. Suddenly, a crashing sound echoed above. Boom. Boom. The palace trembled. The queen grabbed Marcus's hand. Someone has triggered the throne alarm. They ran back up the passage. As they emerged behind the throne, 2 guards rushed in, blood on their armor. My queen, one shouted. An intruder tried to assassinate the human. He failed but escaped. Marcus narrowed his eyes. They're getting desperate. Valtira clenched her jaw, and reckless. The throne doors burst open. Counselors, nobles, and warriors stormed in. Lord Zelter, his wound still healing, pointed at Marcus. This is why we are in danger. That human is a curse. A roar of agreement followed. Another noble shouted, He is not of royal blood. He must be removed. But before they could speak more, the queen rose from the throne. Her voice echoed. With power, he stays, and if you move against him again, you move against me. Silence. Even the boldest lords stepped back. That night, Marcus stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing alien city. Valtira stepped beside him. You should run, she said. He shook his head. I don't run from battles I believe in. She looked at him. Even if it's not your fight? He finally said, maybe it is now. And somewhere in the shadows, another spy ran back to deliver news. The queen has made her choice. The purge begins soon. Asterisk. He woke up choking, not from a dream, from smoke. Thick, black, bitter smoke filled the room. Alarms blared, lights blinked red. And someone was screaming outside his chamber door. Marcus Kane rolled off the strange alien bed, coughing hard. His muscles reacted fast, trained for danger. He grabbed the blade under his pillow, still half blind. From the smoke, a moment later, the door exploded inward. Not rescue, assassins, 3 of them, tall, masked, and fast. Their blades were curved and dripping with green venom. Marcus didn't speak. He fought. The first assassin lunged with a hiss. Marcus dodged low, slashed upward, and cut deep into the attacker's ribs. The alien shrieked but didn't fall. The second came from behind, silent and quick. Marcus spun and kicked him into the fire that had begun crawling up the curtains. The third landed on Marcus's back, trying to stab his neck, but Marcus threw himself backward, slamming the attacker into the wall. The blade missed by inches. The fight didn't last long, but it was messy. When the last assassin lay dead, Marcus stood over them, bleeding from his arm and breathing hard. The fire spread fast. Walls cracked. He had to move. He ran out, barefoot, shirtless, and covered in ash. Guards rushed to him, in panic. Are you injured? Just angry, he growled. The hallway behind him collapsed in fire. Protect the queen, Marcus ordered. If this was for me, they may come for her next. But even as he said it, he knew something deeper was happening. This wasn't just a warning. This was war. In the royal command hall, Queen Valtira stared at the report screen. One look at Marcus burned, bloody, alive, and she stood up fast. You were the target, she said, walking toward him. No, he replied. You were. She looked at him with confusion. They came to kill me, to weaken you. Her eyes widened, and then the alarms rang again. This time, from the throne room, they ran together, surrounded by guards. Inside the throne room, nothing looked broken. Nothing seemed strange until Marcus noticed it. A small crack in the wall. A strange shimmer in the air near the Queen's throne. He walked to it slowly, then reached out. His hand touched something cold metal. A hidden weapon. He pulled it out. A long silver spear. Covered in alien writing. It had been placed to explode if the Queen sat down. This wasn't just an attack, Marcus said. It was a setup, a message. The Queen looked at the weapon, then at him. Someone inside my court placed this, Marcus nodded. They're getting bold. And they're not going to stop. That night, the palace went into full lockdown. No one was allowed to leave or enter. All nobles were watched. But deep in the shadows, betrayal grew. Far away, in a hidden chamber, Lord Zelter slammed his fist on the table. He lives again? Another noble replied, "We've tried blades, poison, fire, and he survives everything." A third leaned forward. "Then we don't attack him. We attack her heart." Back in her chambers, Queen Valterra stood alone. She held the broken piece of the throne, where the trap had been hidden. Marcus stepped in quietly. "You all right?" She nodded, but her hands trembled slightly. "They want to take everything." "From me, they won't," Marcus said. "You can't promise that," she whispered. "I can," he replied, "because I'm still here." She turned to him, and for a brief moment, she wasn't the Queen. She was just a woman trapped, cornered, tired of pretending. "You should leave," she whispered. "Tonight. Escape while you can." Marcus looked at her with steady eyes. "No," he said. "I came here by accident. But I'm staying by choice." "Why?" she asked. "Because the fire they lit tonight," he said, "they'll regret it." The galaxy watched. From across star systems, noble houses, warlords, and ancient empires tuned in to the live broadcast. The trial of the throne was no secret. It was tradition. And today, Queen Valterra would make the most dangerous decision. Of her reign. Her voice, her future, her crown, all would hang on the words she spoke next. Inside the grand hall, the floor glowed with power. Floating crystals circled the throne like silent witnesses. The council stood tall in their dark robes, faces hidden. And standing alone in the center, Marcus came. No armor, no weapons. Just a man from Earth marked by battle, chosen by fate. He didn't blink, didn't flinch. But inside he knew this moment wasn't just for him. It was for her. Queen Valterra entered, her steps slow and heavy. She wore no crown today. Only truth. Every noble in the room stared. Some with disgust, others with fear, but none with love. That was the problem. She climbed the throne steps and stood before the galaxy. Then the ancient AI voice echoed, "Queen Valterra, state your choice. Will you join with one of noble blood, or surrender the crown?" Silence. Even the walls seemed to hold their breath. She looked out over the sea of alien faces, and then her eyes found Marcus. He didn't nod. He didn't speak. He simply stood there, ready to walk away or stand with her. Her voice rose, calm but strong. "I was taught that blood matters more than soul. That rules matter more than truth. That power matters more than people." She paused. "I reject that." Gasps, murmurs, shock. "I will not bind myself to someone I do not trust. I will not lie to this throne. My heart has chosen." She lifted her hand. And pointed at Marcus. "I choose him." The room exploded into chaos. Nobles shouted. Some drew weapons. The council began to glow, preparing to remove her with force. But before they could speak, Marcus moved. He stepped forward, holding up something the guards had never seen before, a recording crystal. He threw it into the air. It activated. A voice echoed through the hall, Lord Zelter's voice. "Then we don't attack the human. We attack her heart. If she chooses him, we move now." Gasps turned into roars. The plan. The betrayal. The proof, the council. Froze. Queen Valterra stood tall. You wanted blood. Then let it be the blood of traitors. Guards surrounded Lord Zelter and the other conspirators. Some tried to run. Some begged. None escaped. The council dimmed its light. Confirmed. The eye said, the Queen's choice is true. The throne remains hers. Marcus walked to her slowly, standing just below the throne. You still have a planet to rule, he said quietly. She smiled. And you still have a galaxy to teach. She offered her hand again, this time not in secret, this time in front of everyone. He took it, and the hall fell silent. That night, lights danced over the city. The people didn't cheer for politics. They cheered for something rarer. Something forgotten in power. Love that in the Queen's private garden. Marcus and Valterra sat under the stars. Still want me to run? He asked, smirking. She leaned against him. Not anymore. He looked up at the sky. I came here by accident, he said. But I stayed for you. She whispered, and I'll fight anyone who tries to take you. They both smiled, not as queen and warrior, but as two souls finally free.